So this is going to be the 5th session of our L5R campaign. Last we looked, Akakyoku was thinking about getting into the Fox Clan planning meeting as an observer. Akakyoku is going to have to roll either awareness and sincerity or awareness and courtier. It's going to be a difficult TN. You may not want to raise on this. You want to just roll and see how high you can get. It's not going to be a 15. It's going to be higher than that.
4K2.
Keeping 2. You got 12.
Yeah.
You didn't even beat a 15 with that. Muragami pulls you aside and says, "My apologies, but we have to do this in secret. We will keep you informed as to what we can do and how you can help us out." Matsuichi was working with that sword out there in the foundry building, and he had that one ingot he was able to turn into like either a kodachi, a wakizashi, or some other kind of blade.
It's a decent amount of metal.
The amount is enough to... It can't make a full katana. You could make knives out of it, but the knives would be oversized and or... But there's a bit more than a knife there.
What's the name of the spear sword thing?
There's 2 kinds. There is the Nagamaki, which looks like that. Then there is the Naginata, which looks like that. Naganatas are actually a favorite of the Phoenix clan. You can take this blade, take it out of its mounting here, and put it in a normal kodachi mount, like you would for a normal katana.
I will probably convert it into a Naginata. I don't think this blade should be a katana, basically because of the history of the metal. Katanas are considered a sacred weapon, right?
Katanas and wakizashis are considered sacred. If you look at your character sheet, you'll notice that they actually have that on there. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not the same thing as the trait in the other games.
If I remember blade history correctly, Naginata, right? Usually are protection weapons. So
yes,
it would give a chance for the metal and the blade to come through its own redemption arc. Which is kind of weird to say, but there's definitely a romance for Matsuichi to kind of... to give the blade a chance to redeem the quality it inherently had before him.
I like the way you think. So this is kind of like a half-scale Naginata blade. It's going to take time, and so you're doing this in the background while other things are happening. But we're going to have you make what you've wanted to kind of build your character to making the entire damn campaign. Earth plus weaponsmithing, as it is. Land it right there if you want. Nice.
Ooh,
that's a 7. That's a 4.
No
That's
10,
a 1.
just a 3 I keep.
Yeah, this is 6. I'm assuming you want to do the, oh my god, numerical godhood here. 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
What a joke.
24.
Yeah, 24. You're able to start the process of converting it from an ingot into a Naginata blade. Go ahead and make an additional roll. See, this is the roll to make the blade, to give it like your touch, to make the blade a unique item. This is you touching up the blade, polishing it down, working it to be your blade. Go to town.
I will be using a void point.
10 right here. 8.
Another
8.
10.
That's a 20 right there. Go ahead and roll again.
That's a 23.
If you're trying to max out, that's an 8 and 8 and a 6. That's 22 right there. And that is 23. What?
45.
45. So if your base TN was 25 and you beat it by an extra 20, that's the equivalent of 4 raises. That metal really appreciates what you're doing to it. You can describe it yourself. If you want to take your time to draw this blade and say, hey, this is what it looks like. Mm-hmm. This blade has turned into something that could be a work of art. If you wanted to, you could even put a mark here or along this edge of the blade down here to show that this is this specific blade. You have put in amazing effort into this blade, and the nearby smiths who are working on other stuff recognize how awesome that is. Go ahead and then roll basic perception. If you want to add in some special skill, let me know what special skill you're thinking about.
I can do a meditation, or I can do a calligraphy check.
Go ahead and do 1 dice only. 1 dice only of meditation. What you got here?
Well, there's a 9 and a 5, because I keep 2.
So you got a 14.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's not great. You did not pass the roll, which means this gets to be a little bit more spooky. Well, the thing about failing this perception roll is it doesn't kill you. Something that you could have spotted now is upon you, and you spot it when it's there.
Okay.
You finish the Naginata blade, you probably don't have a box for it. You don't probably have like a leather sheath or something like that. You might even have like a wooden placard you're carrying it on for the time being. You walk outside of the forge shop and breathe in the winter air after being in the smelter for 4 hours straight. And literally a good 15 feet away from you, a good 5 meters away, at the border of that one area where you disenchanted the sword, there is a man standing there in black and white priestly robes. You haven't seen this guy before. He hasn't been a guest of the castle. Off in the foggy distance, there looks to be men in armor with shawl scarves and naginatas.
And he doesn't look like he's from the shrine that we visited when we found the madman, right?
No, he's not that guy either. Also, difference. He did have orange robes at the shrine. The outer robe is black, and the inner layers and all the wrapping is white. His head looks like it was shaved at one point, but he's grown like stubble essentially up there. He's an older man. And you can tell by looking at him, he's got the wrinkles not of a baggy old man, of a man who's been weathered like leather. He's not a shrine monk.
Are the robes kind of that of an exorcist, or...?
What's your intelligence roll? Go ahead and land an intelligence roll.
Just you.
Go for it, man. Okay. You know what? Luck is on your side today. You rolled a 10 and a 5. Please roll another dice. That was a 9.
Cool.
Amazing. A 24. You probably have heard about it, which is why it took you a while to work into your brain. Black and white like this, especially if it's being worn with either straight black armor or like naturally made armor with no real coloring. If he's not like a working monk, he's a Sohei.
I would acknowledge him.
He, of course, has his hands in the Rinpyo position. And he says, I have felt that a great evil was put away here.
That is true.
He bows a good, 25 degrees. My name is Ginro. What has become of the liar's blade?
We threw away the clay brick with the corrupted metal, right?
It's in a cesspit.
Is that where you want to put it?
Yeah, we put it in a cesspit.
So it did get disposed of?
Yes.
Okay.
Since it's a spiritual matter and I know little about it, I will describe the situation that the corrupted metal that we extracted from the blade was disposed of. I don't know the location. In the location of the...
You have no idea.
Oh, I don't know.
I literally took it.
Okay.
As for the rest of the blade...
You are taking the truthful approach with these Sohei. Nice. I'll make a note of that.
The blade is very simple. The mark of who handled the blade. The name of it, which is just penitent.
I like that.
The penitent man shall pass. The penitent man shall pass. The penitent man shall pass.
That's good.
I like it too. Ginro sees what you have done, and he is actually elated. You have done very well. Are you skilled with the Naginata?
I am not. It is a weapon of protection, and therefore it is the only path for this blade to find its own redemption.
I have with me a band of wandering monks. We were looking to take care of this issue, and it seems the issue has been taken care of. We owe you for this. If I can be of service to you.
Matsuichi is in a position where he needs to decide if he wants to find the wielders for the blades that he makes.
As opposed to being approached by these guys out of nowhere.
I would like to find someone of humble stature to wield it. Someone who has a home to protect, or a village to protect. And that is where it must reside. Its path must be humble.
He bows and says, I agree with you, though it would be my intention to recover the pure aspect of the blade. The truth is if that is your intention, you are doing better than we. And so, in our own quest for redemption, we will allow you to make that choice. Do allow us, though, to accompany you. We would hate to see this blade pass to a single soul, and have that single soul then suffer at the hands of many.
I would agree. That would be wise.
I do have a question.
Yes.
How do these guys get into the castle?
They're not inside the castle. Small
It's next to the woods.
a micro map here. Let's say this is Kyuden Kitsune. They have the main gate. But there's also a nearby onsen, the stables. Then there's like a barracks over here, a bit of a storehouse here. Here you have the smithy. Then over here you have this other shrine. Kyuden Kitsune works like a campus inside the forest. This is a huge stone building.
For some reason, I was thinking more Western-style fortress.
A lot of Rokugani castles would. In fact, the wall would be raised up. There'd be a flat part, and you build the castle on top of that flat part. But Kyuden Kitsune is unique amongst castles in Rokugan. Ginro and his little band of monks want to accompany this blade and its new owner. They also, they're not asking for any special favors either. These guys showed up out of nowhere, and they can take care of themselves. They actually don't ask to be invited into the castle. They're just fine living out in the woods in the middle of freaking winter.
However, since the smithing grounds is outside the castle, and that is probably where the blade will be kept, I will ask them to overwatch the grounds it is being stored.
They will gladly watch this blade for you. You have a break moment where you're outside. You notice in the distance you see two of the Mantis girls in winter gear bringing like a package over to one of the doors. The doors opens and they bring the package in, and then the door closes behind them. Just a few minutes after that, you see actually that door open. Magoichi and the three Mantis girls, they're carrying something in their hands, each on the opposite side. No, they'd be on the side that's next to you, on their left side. They're generally in winter gear, and they have, thick wraps around their feet with tall geta on the bottom.
Are they fully geared as if they're leaving?
Yes, they're fully geared as if they're leaving. You have the ability to intercept them and talk with them if you want to, or you can just let them go.
Have you told me that the message that I sent to the Master of Air has been relayed, or?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And have I told them that? We'll have this moment be that moment that I go and tell them. I see you might be going out to see Orochi Suruchi, yeah.
Mitsushima, actually. He bows and tips his hat.
About lower, of course.
Oh, he waves his hand. Don't worry, you have done fine. We're praying it's going to be a nice little jaunt. We've brought these along anyway. They've brought these things that kind of have like this weird pattern to them, but you also realize that they've kind of got half of a basket woven in on either side, and you realize they've got enough straps on them that they can essentially be snow discs.
Snowshoes.
Yeah, they're made of straw and wood together, kind of a form of snowshoe. And these look really weird. You've never seen this kind of snowshoe before. Then again, the Inuit style of snowshoe is not known in Rokugan. They're always more like wide discs. So this one just allows you to have your feet close together most of the time. And there are wooden beams through it, so it looks like these are actually designed with some, engineering in mind.
Well, I figured before you leave I'd drop some good news. My message to Phoenix lands, and they promised to send a message to Orochi Suruchi about what we discussed before.
I am indebted to you for this. That is excellent news. After all, Orochi has the ability to truly turn Mitsushima's heart. They're very much like each other. They just haven't figured it out yet. One is too young and one is too old. But thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. He bows and says, I hope we see each other again.
It would be a pleasure. Mm-hmm.
You have been very helpful, and you've been more considerate than you needed to be.
I mostly keep silent about any reasonings why, since I barely even know those. But
yeah.
just flying by my gut for most of this, so I kind of just acknowledge in silence.
The other girls bow too, and of course the really short one, I forgot what her name is, but the really short one bows and says, "Behave yourself. We are magistrates." Those three get down, and then Magoichi is going to be the last one. I'll see you again, Matsuichi.
One day.
They are off on one hell of an adventure, and actually I could dice it. Let me grab a Mantis Clan dice. Here's a system I have for dealing with crazy random weather. 4 and 6, and this is 1. Do you want to know how I read this? This is a range. White dice for snow dice, right? The range is 4 through 6. 4 through 6 is where the nasty letter that can kill you is. They rolled a 1, which means they precede what's going on here. I like the idea of having like a loose system where we could potentially deal with bad weather, and it's up to you to get around the bad weather by rolling not inside of that range.
Sweet, they make it.
You guys don't know that, but at least, we have done the dice roll. We've seen what's going on. A few days after there's the one meeting you weren't allowed to, you notice that the Fox clan has a whole different aura about it, where a lot of the samurai seem really stern and downcast a little bit. They're holding their heads up still, but you can feel this kind of miasma of like,
We're going to get beat down, but we're going to go out fighting.
you do catch in the corner of your eye some of the noteworthy samurai that aren't Hatamoto are talking with Yukimura, and Yukimura is talking with them, and they go part their ways. There is an instance before the court closes down for an evening, Yukimura gets up and leaves, and then slowly these other samurai that aren't the head honchos also get up and leave.
The sad thing is I really am curious, but my ability to sneak around and gather information is not good. So I'm going to be up front and Yukimura.
Yukimura left first, so you're
I
seeing
know.
other people leave. So
I'm probably going to catch him one day, like the next day or whatever, and ask, can I help you with anything? You're being a little shifty.
Yukimura is the daimyo, right?
no, Yamagi is a daimyo. Yukimura, he's one of the Yoriki.
Yeah.
He's also weird in that he is an actual Kitsune and a Fox Clan samurai.
I'm trying not to be insulting about it,
Yeah.
but it's one of those, it's like, dude, are you going to do something foolish?
Go ahead and roll awareness and etiquette. It's a really low TN. You're not trying to affect him. You're just trying to put on the best front possible.
Yeah. I'm spending a void point on this. This is a crappy roll otherwise.
Okay.
So, 3K.
Holy good choice, man, because if this were, I don't know which dice you were planning on rolling. If this was it, you would have fucked up. There's a 10 in there. Go ahead
Jesus.
and add to your 10. That void point must have saved your butt. You have actually smoothed out the etiquette. You've been watching. You realize that Yukimura is pretty open as far as social stuff is concerned.
I'm just wanting to make sure he's not going to try to strike out on his own and maybe endanger the rest of his clan.
Listen, he says. He points at you and says, some of the Fox think you have insulted them. You have a very accurate understanding of our position here. I want you to not be as vocal as you have been.
I can do that, yes.
I appreciate your intellect, but you have stepped out of bounds.
I agree. At the same time, I'm the only one here who can try to arrange anything like refugee status for your people, if push comes to shove.
He bites his lip when he hears that and says, you do realize that if it gets that bad, Kitsune Mori will become a battleground, and we will, in the long run, make the Mantis wish they never stepped in here.
I acknowledge that, but at the same time, if you need somewhere to hide...
We're samurai, we don't hide.
Yes, but a child can't defend itself.
Good point.
If you guys lose, which is a possibility, you need somewhere to hide the weak and innocent.
Always that one dice. Well, fuck that.
10's still a 10, right?
It's also the bare minimum 15. 10s can only do so much. We have our strengths.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
They're somewhat duplicative with what the Phoenix clan has to offer. If you had some way to make... He stops midway. If you had some way to make 500 men show up out of nowhere, that would be amazing.
Like I said, I can attempt, but I'm not a Shugenja.
Whatever message you also send to the Phoenix lands will probably take forever to get there. It'll be too late.
Potentially, could we get a boatload of people down here, down the river?
That's a good question.
I know that you had a discussion about it last week.
And I got told we will look into it.
They
The
were...
Scorpion said they might.
Yes. Here is the small tactical map of what's going on here. Kyuden Kitsune is down here. There's supposed to be a Kitsune village here, but it's also written on some maps as being over here. So I'm going to say there's actually two of them. The Scorpion have a potential offering of something.
He actually did give us a number, but I don't remember what it was.
He didn't give you a number. He told you what he could bring. He said he can't bring all of them, but he can try. Weirdly enough, the crane does exist down here, but the crane is not part of the situation. The crane actually ran over here to Kyuden Suzume, and so all the crane we know of are over here at Kyuden Suzume. You guys have not been able to sneak any kind of information out of the Foxes yet, what the Fox has in plan or on their side.
We saw an amount in the beginning of the
There's
report,
150 odd samurai.
which was very likely to be their total forces.
Mm-hmm.
But those
A
are all the
portion of them.
Fox. That was the Fox clan, not the Kitsune.
Keep in mind, the Kitsune are technically not Rokugani. culture-wise. They have adapted many parts of Rokugani culture, but they are their own creatures. They're technically in the Monstrous Manual, they're not in the Player's Guide.
Is it possible I can get some kind of force from Phoenix territory?
Do you want to roleplay a little with contacting the Phoenix Clan again? There's 2 more moons you can deal with before the end of winter.
I'm more than willing to, yes. I'm not sure if I can actually roleplay adequately enough to actually get help.
You are in the library! And as usual, what happens in the library is there is the one window that gets opened so the moon can shine in. So there's that. And then Anzumi, being Anzumi, Anzumi will cast a spell and then pass it to you. And of course, you hold the spell thing in your hand while it radiates energy and you get to see whoever's on the other end show up.
Is it the Master of Air or one of her friends?
Roll luck die. Roll luck die right there so I can see it.
This is happening. You just see my mouth just agape.
Either really not good or really good.
What happens is, remember the acolyte Tsukimimi?
Yes.
It's a little bit late for her, but she's still on the horn, so to speak, to talk with you.
Cool.
I just make a dumb statement like, there's a little girl in the scroll.
Oh, you're there?
Yeah, I said I'd hang out with
Cool.
Akakyoku in this situation. Anytime there's magic, Matsuichi is just like a jaw open and just like magic.
Yeah.
It just says just dumb things.
When you
Matsuichi, shush!
Yeah, actually, I'm not a little girl. Tsukimimi, she technically could pass off as a 14-year-old girl under certain circumstances, but she's trying to pass off as an actual elemental acolyte. She's technically in her 20s. She says, other than your rude guest, Akakyoku, you are here again. What's the news?
A representative of the Scorpion Clan did show up. Yeah, I'll come back to court, I should say.
Oh, a scorpion has returned.
Yes.
Do you have his name by chance?
I want to look at Matsuichi. I forgot his name. But yeah, he's offered to potentially bring some of their Penitent Legion down.
Penitent Legion? Wait, do you mean the Scorpion Penal Legion?
Yeah, them.
Oh my god! Gross!
Yes, but at least they're sending more support than we have.
Face comes back. Hey! Okay.
It's a valid point, ma'am.
You know, we have discussed this with the Master of Air, and the Phoenix Army has always been a defensive one. When it comes to providing support, we almost always have to do something that's not so direct as sending soldiers.
Actually, about that, is there a potential we can send supplies down? At the very least, food and medicines?
Fubukiya did say we should support the Fox. Therefore, I say, hand me a list. What do you want to put on the list of stuff we should send down?
Well, obviously food, so rice as a given.
Case of rice.
Medications, Shugenja supplies, scrolls, inks, maybe actual weapons if we've got extra.
It sounds like a lot of what the Fox already has.
A lot of it is, but at the same time, you can never have enough food. As far as character-wise, would I know of anything that we, as far as Phoenix, have that they could really use?
What they need is men.
I can't get the men.
That's the fun thing about the Kitsune. They really are kind of a specialist clan. And you've got a point there. The one thing they really need the most is extra bodies.
Volunteers of some kind.
Caillou engineers would be great.
Engineers would probably be helpful, yeah.
But you'd have to get them here before winter.
Do you actually say that?
I do mention in passing, it's just like you mentioned, like, what do the Fox need? Well, then maybe some engineers.
Engineers would be good. I think the only way to actually get them down here...
On the mention of crab.
Tsukimimi's face the moment you say, it'd be great to have some Caillou engineers. I think I've had a moment of enlightenment here. They've kind of been ostracized from Rokugan by the political machinations of the overlords. The crab are technically right next door. And the crab, she kind of looks around, makes sure it's back and forth, and
They
says,
won't send soldiers, but engineers would work.
the crab are some of the best war people in Rokugan. I honestly rate them higher than the lion myself, but that's just because the lion don't scare me as much as the crab do. The crab also would be a great matchup against the mantis, and the mantis are what you're fighting. Now, I don't know much about military affairs, but the crab have always seemed really, really scary, and they've kind of turned into a myth. They're not in anybody's courts. They don't really attend politics. The only people we know that really trade with the crab right now are the High Imperials. Maybe the unicorn.
You're welcome to ask them for help, but I don't want them to make any enemies. But an engineer or two that lends a hand, that's just a resource.
Even if it's like 10 or 15. Siege experts. Because anybody who knows how to do a siege knows how to defend against one.
AKA
Caillou.
the Caillou. Engineers, siege experts, weaponsmiths. The crab have them.
Do we have any way to get... I don't have any contact information for them.
My friend is not in Crablands right now. You're welcome to talk to his family.
Someone has an intelligence of 4. They're going to roll it. I didn't have them roll earlier because it was kind of a gimme when you said it.
I just don't...
Son of a bitch, my dice hate me tonight. She's got 4 intelligence dice to roll
crap.
and only made a 12. I was looking from like a 15 or so.
Do we have a last known location of any crabs?
I mean,
Look at a
Saguaro-
map, dude.
Yeah.
The crab are just right down south.
Actually, so if I remember correctly, Saguaro is in Phoenix Lands, isn't he?
Yes, because Saguaro kind of follow your idea.
There is a friend of mine. His name is Saguaro Caillou. He's actually attending court in... do you have a map of Rokugan that I can look at? Because that would actually work too.
You know what?
This was Morning Glory.
Yes.
Oh.
Morninglory Castle. This is Phoenix territory. This is Lion territory. This location right here.
Right? This is, I thought it was...
Cute Nagasha's right here.
Yeah.
Way down off map where it's like down here. Down here. Cute and Kitsune. Oh, what a mistake. It says Golden Sun Plain there. No, Golden Sun Plain's down here. This is all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, I think it was here, if I remember correctly. I can't read that quite. I saw...
Kyuden Asgasha. Yeah, that's Cute
Asgasha?
Nagasha. Yeah.
That's where the court was for most of the craftsmen have been going.
Yeah, because it's Cute Nagasha is a crafty place.
Yeah. But yeah, if you wouldn't to contact him and see if you can organize a few of the Caillou to come through the snow.
Could I put the Phoenix name behind the overture?
You can suggest that maybe it's just a check on interesting architecture. I also imagine that some of the engineers would be interested in the construction as well as maybe some of the insights that the Fox Clan could provide. Are you still determined to have a force come and fight the war for the Fox?
It's an option.
I thought your last thing you were running for was to have the Emperor stick in.
Yeah, that's the thing I was
Imperial
actually...
Legion,
Look, that's where I was leaning towards, is having the Emperor.
Because we know the Imperial Legions are mixed clan, and they're not going to come down here for the Fox. We do know that Kakujo is a former Imperial Herald who retired and moved down to Foxlands. He's planning to do something Imperial on your behalf, but it's mostly on behalf of the Fox because he likes the Fox.
I have a question on that. Is gunpowder itself illegal?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay. Because there's actually lots of valid uses for gunpowder.
Between 1217 and 1221, I think, Rokugan had a new kind of war to get rid of the spider.
Yeah.
After that happened, they put their special new weapons away, and so most clans have a stockpile somewhere. They do not like to dig into them.
They don't like to acknowledge that they have them.
Well, no one likes to, because it was kind of one of those things where this is how you tell the Shadowlands to fuck off permanently, is you shoot them with lots of jade bullets,
Yeah.
which is easier than slicing them with lots of jade blades, or shooting them with lots of jade arrows.
Yeah.
The effect is different. Jade arrows technically do the same kind of effect.
Probably don't penetrate armor as well.
Exactly.
Can I get, formally permission to leave court to go down to the Crablands?
In the winter?
I'm willing to do it.
This is new and different.
Snowshoes work.
It only takes one bad storm, you know that, right?
I know this.
This woman is constantly suffering from your ideas.
Go in the snow.
Azumi's over there just making sure that this part of the spell is up and running, and she's just kind of shrugging. If you want to contact the crab, let's try something else first on our side, over here in Phoenix Lands. And if it works, we will then contact you at the next moon. It'll be a new moon, but we can still do it. There's going to be one last full moon, and then you've got 5 days until spring actually shows up. And we know what the coming of spring means.
I mean, literally, he can show up on the first day of calendar spring.
He will.
That's in his personality. He'll do that.
If we can't get some kind of people down here, at the same time, we can potentially get the children out, sending them back up to Phoenix Lands on the same boats.
Phoenix have a shitty fleet compared to other fleets.
You don't need a strong boat to go down a river.
You do to go down the coast.
Who says we're going down the coast?
You cannot draw a line
true.
from Phoenix Lands.
Yeah.
There is no water passage from
Yeah,
north to
sorry.
south in Rokugan. There's a big fucking mountain range in the way.
I forgot.
That, and when it comes to the fleets, we have this kind of scenario
The
going
and the
on.
coast
Yeah.
along the side is covered in.
Well, yeah, Mantis have the strongest
Mantis
fleet
and
in the
Crane.
world.
Mantis have the best.
And you think anyone is going to?
Crab is next.
Do you think the Mantis is going to let any fleet
Crane.
move down that river
And then we have
towards
It's
Fox
possible.
Clans?
Phoenix Imperial.
I'm willing to friggin' go wherever I can to get these people some kind of help.
Tsukimimi says, okay, on the next new moon, I will give you the full allowances of what can be done. We will see what we can do. We might be able to ship down a package of supplies. We're thinking of going just straight medicine and emergency foodstuffs. We're thinking more like
something.
something that'll help out rice, you know, maybe a little bit of spices and bullion. This is a tough spot, and I can't give you permission to go gallivanting. We're going to check and see if you can take that little quest to go south, and we're going to check to see if there's anything we can have you do particularly. I am going to go get some sleep now. I will have difficulty resting tonight, but at least I'll be thinking about this.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I couldn't do more, she says. And then the spell fizzles out. You
Write
lose-
down pretty much the highlights of the conversation, hand them over to the Shikinja, and asking her to pass them on.
I'm going to be writing a letter to Sawara. Basically, it'll be being down here in Foxlands. It would be very. I've noticed that the architecture here is quite fascinating. Some of which you might have some Kaiyu engineers love to take a look at and maybe give some tips, as well as the construction made from such fascinating people. The real reason of this letter, Fox Clan are quite nervous about this upcoming issue with the Mantis Clan. Domiki's interest in his ultimatum to return to Foxlands does make my stay here a little worrisome. I think regardless if whether or not you can aid in this outcome, but we'll see how things turn out as usual. Sincerely, your friend.
That letter is going to hang in a box for a little bit because of the snow, but still.
There's different ways. I can either have it sent or I can actually have it...
Do the Phoenix have a spell that allows them to move a letter from place to place? The spell they're going to be using to move the supplies is way different. So, you wanted to go north to Humble Priest Village, and you wanted to check and see if Yogo Jotaro had any insight or help to give you.
Yeah.
It's the Yogo family we're talking about. So this is not a family known for its terrific military prowess or tactical stuff. They're literally warding Shigenja. They're best against ghosts and Shadowlands creatures.
He may have some kind of idea, like a defensive barrier or something.
Roll intelligence first, and then if you want to, you can then roll without one dice, and we can play this little game I cooked up. Go ahead and roll for your intelligence.
Ugh.
Oh,
Wow.
you know what? You probably are thinking more about talking to your friend more than anything intelligent. I'm assuming Matsuichi is not going with you.
She give me a really good reason.
Probably not, no.
So you're going out and going back. You're probably going to be very cold at some point. Roll a dice against me. Remember this little thing?
Yeah.
Lucky bitch. There's this really nasty whip of wind that happened the previous day before you go. And then as it's gone, you're like, oh, I can do this. And so you're going to do a basic stamina plus hunting roll. I've seen worse. So,
25?
what are you keeping?
You said it's stamina? So
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I would like to.
It's a 25, flat 25. It's cold. Your horse is doing a lot of high stepping, and they have wraps around their leg to keep the horse from dying in the cold. You're able to travel, and it takes all day, up to Humble Priest Village on a horse. And as you get there, you get to experience the plight of the scorpion firsthand. I don't have a map of Humble Priest Village, so I'm just going to assume a few things. Here is a headman's house. It is only 2 stories tall. It's got a primary row of like merchant stalls or whatnot. It's got a stable at the beginning of the village. Oh, we'll see there's a small shrine on the side. These are not occupied right now. It's snowing. It's covered. Everything's covered in snow. There are Ashigaru guards at the front door who pretty much say, state your name, what are you doing here?
Sako Akakyoku.
And the Ashigaru are like,
Here to visit a friend of mine, Jotaro.
oh, you're a friend of those scorpion. All right. Weirdly enough, they call up 2 other Ashigaru to escort you over to the opening of the headman's house. It's the only 2-story building in the entire village. By the way, I'm not doing it justice. The Humble Priest Village should be a larger village.
It's not a spot on the actual map.
When you enter the headman's house, the first thing you see is the Scorpion delegation. And they all look at you. What was there, like 9 of them?
I think there was like 14.
And so there's lots of Scorpion. And so you've got probably your head 3 courtiers. You probably had a share of the usual attractive Scorpion women. And then you have Scorpion samurai by the score. And they literally look at you when you walk in and say, "We did not expect a phoenix to show up here." And one of the women's like, "Aren't you the one that was staying at the Fox Clan?
Yes, I am.
Would you care to fill us in on the situation?"
I'll give them a basic rundown on what the actual confrontation that was happening, but not what we've done. And of course, they rolled good.
So Domeki is going to punish the Fox Clan.
Pretty much.
Son of a bitch. Well, the Fox Clan, I guess, had it coming to them, since they decided to just split off from their former masters, who have been their masters for 110 years. What did you want from us?
I'm actually here to see my friend, Jotaro.
Jotaro is usually in the library. It is a 1.5-story structure down the 4th lane over here. There's a little side road.
But the guards brought me here.
This is the Headman's Village. If you wanted to see the Scorpions, of course the guards would bring you here. Jotaro happens to be over there, though. Don't let the shoji screen hang open on your way out.
I do have a question. What is their stand on this conflict?
They all whisper amongst each other, and their main courtier looks at you and says, "Let what's going to happen, happen. We don't want to be there presently, so we get accused of anything." Did you run across Yoshinobu?
I believe I met him.
Yoshinobu did make it out of the snow then.
Yes, that's the guy.
They kind of whisper amongst each other, yeah. One of the main courtiers folds his arms and is like, "Brave, foolhardy, very much a hard ass. Of course the snow didn't kill him."
Didn't hurt me either.
They motion towards the library. You can go talk to Jotaro there.
Alright. While I'm here, I'm going to write a letter and leave it with him for my love.
For the ex that you're not certain you'll see again. You walk up to the library and you notice something. There's a Fox Clan Mon on the door.
I thought this wasn't part of the Fox Clan territory.
So you thought. Inside, it has an attic, and it has a primary room with 2 off rooms. There's a little entry step area. Also a place to put your winter gear. You probably want to stow that.
Yeah.
And of course, there is, in the center of the room, a fireplace going. But on the one side, there's like a small desk. On the opposite side, there's a small desk. And lo and behold, sitting next to the fire is Jotaro. He's got a short mask on. And it's just him being Jotaro.
Jotaro, my friend. Long time no see.
Akakyoku. What's going on? You're not dying, are you?
Maybe.
Damn. Anything I can do to assuage that?
Unless you can come up with like 1,000 bodies in the next 2 months.
I can send a message to the Penal Legion and Zaki Otoshi.
Yoshinobu said he could probably get some of them too.
Oh, okay, well, Yoshinobu's covering that.
I came actually up here to see you. Say I may or may not see you come summer.
Oh, damn. Well, just
and
don't
leave
die
a letter
anymore.
with you.
I'll take that letter, he says. Why are you about to die?
You were there when the Fox announced that they're splitting from the Mantis?
Yes.
You remember when this big thing just happened?
Well, no, he was actually there.
So that's escalating into a full-out war.
Yeah, Domeki showed up in person about a month ago.
Oh, shit.
And said he would be back in spring. And I said I would stay.
Why'd you do that? He looks up at you and says,
I know, honor is stupid.
"No, you're doing fine. Honor is a great thing for people who aren't Scorpion. I would tell you to take care of yourself, but you're probably going to go out and get yourself killed anyway. Don't get yourself killed if you can't help it."
I'm not planning on it.
Very well then. I cannot help you in this regard.
Oh, I fully anticipated you couldn't help me.
Why'd you come here then?
To leave the letter
Very well.
and to say you've been a friend. And I appreciate what you've done for me over the years.
He lifts a hand and bows his head.
I'm probably going to need to stay here overnight and then head back in the morning.
Yeah, the library is actually a great place to stay. The attic is very warm because it traps most of the heat. As long as you're not burning lamps up there, they'll let you do it.
Is there any chance I could peruse the library, see if there's anything of historical oddity?
The library at Humble Priest Village is very basic and primarily deals with things that you could consider of a more natural matter. Plus it has logs of the history that's gone here in the past. It looks like, by the way, 75 years ago, past to 100 years ago, the Fox did own this village.
Just straight intelligence?
Straight intelligence, unless you want to add something amazing to it.
History?
1 dice of it if you have more than 1.
I've got 3.
Add 1 dice for history.
And I also have investigation too.
Oh, in that case, add investigation. There you go.
So it's 3K2.
Ding, ding. 7, 8, 10. Oh, you kicked ass. What were you looking for again?
Mainly historical information, possible things that are just odd about the area. Legends, lore, myths.
Most of the library's function is pretty, peasant level.
Okay.
This is not a major library.
Oh, I fully anticipated that.
There is a tale about how this race called the Naga once showed up nearby, but it's one scroll, and the details look like they were written by someone who had a relatively biased look at the events that were going on. On top of that, there's no real major history there. There are the scrolls that have the Fox Clan Mon on them that show about the rulership logs, but they pretty much look like what you expect. They're essentially tax records and rulership logs of the time the Fox ruled this area.
Are there any actual histories on the Kitsune here?
No.
Okay.
If the Kitsune were keeping records about what was happening in this village, they were probably back at the other library at the main castle.
Makes sense.
After 3 days, you get back at the castle.
Yeah.
You haven't gained anything from traveling out to Humble Priest Village except for a newfound appreciation of the cold and how to prepare against it.
I'm from the north. I know how cold it is.
Probably a good idea to talk to the Phoenix right now.
Yeah.
Roll a luck die. Right here.
Not bad.
New person you haven't met before.
Oh, fun.
Good evening, she says.
Good evening.
I am Aisawa Kazafume, advocate of the Master of Air. I would very much like to inform you of the decisions that have been made by the Phoenix Clan regarding the Fox Clan scenario.
Notes.
We would very much like to send military aid, but cannot. We will send 3 wagons full of supplies through unnatural means. They'll be arriving in 1 month. These supplies will be primarily food and medicines. There is a possibility that a few volunteers might show up with the supplies, but it is not guaranteed.
Any word on the crab or contact with them?
Our attempts to contact the crab have not been fruitious. We have attempted to form two-way contact and have been unable to find an appropriate anchor on their side. We have sent single messages that are designed to go one way. We do not know if those messages have fruition, but they have been sent to the castle of the Kuni, the castle of the Kaio, and the castle of the Hida. At the very least, we have sent them messages with the following information. The Fox clan has separated from the Mantis, and Domeki is going to be issuing an assault at the beginning of spring. The Fox clan is not guaranteed to survive this engagement. So these messages have been sent. We do not know if they've been received. After all, the Crab clan as of right now is a bit of an enigma. Are you there?
Yeah, I will be sitting in the corner
Yeah.
if you let me sit.
Do I have permission to attempt physical contact?
Describe the method you want to use and we'll officiate it or not. But the answer is generally yes. If you have a bad idea, we're going to modify that for you.
I'm going to take a horse down south.
Do you have a map?
I can get one.
She has a very stern, disciplined look on her face. So you're going to need a map. And it's going to be different because the snow will probably have snowed in the roads. Your desire to help these people is lauded.
But will it actually do anything? My character, he's literally going nuts trying to figure out some way.
Since Magoichi left, right?
It has been 3 weeks since
weeks?
Magoichi left.
But do I have an idea of how...
He's journeying to the Castle of the Wasps. We can talk to Matsushima. The idea is the Phoenix will have contacted Orochi.
I was mainly asking you for permission because I am the voice of the Phoenix here.
We're going to think about our connections to the Fox more seriously in the future. I give you permission on behalf of the Elemental Council I recommend you make a full roster and write an official letter with detailed information and a detailed request.
The fact that we support the fox in this.
The crab do have a village that is nearby to the city of Mamikake.
I will also ask here if any of the Shugenja have a contact in that city.
Derp a derp a derp.
They're fairly close by. They may have some kind of a commercial contact. They may even have a representative there.
The Phoenix Clan guys don't know about the Fox Clan. The Phoenix and the Fox Clan Shigenjas are not used to having a lot of close communication, but as of right now, they're rethinking that.
We may or may not be sending children and or elderly back with the wagons, if at all possible.
Oh, we can't take refugees to that path, trust me. It is for trained experts only who know how to walk that path.
Okay.
The wagons will probably also be man-drawn, not horse-drawn.
I have informed the Fox that push comes to shove, worst case scenario, they will have a place to hide their innocence. Historically, are the Mantis prone to massacres?
No.
Okay.
In fact, the typical samurai thing to do is to capture civilian populations so that you may control them. And with that, she says, if there's anything else...
I cannot think of anything.
Thank you very much. Akakyoku, you will be lauded for your efforts.
Yeah, I'm going to take
Zot.
lots of time
Cool.
to make sure that this record is precise, accurate, and
Intelligence plus calligraphy.
6K3. This is important. Let's throw a void.
Nice tens. That letter to the crab is freaking amazing. Is there anything you are specifically leaving out of that?
I'm putting as much detail as I can.
Probably also a map.
49.
You know what? That's one hefty swing. You've written up a very fine document that will be communicated to the crab here as soon as you arrive at that village.
I will let the Kitsune see it
Okay.
so that they know what I'm passing on.
Monotsugu has an immediate comment once he sees that. You're going to try to contact the crab?
It's an option that, yes.
Yukimura steps over and says, that's almost genius. The crab wouldn't talk to very many people, but the Kitsune have never been opponents of the crab, and the crab have always been friendliest to the mantis, which is something that we technically were part of.
Who of the higher-ups of the Fox Clan have I learned to talk to the most?
Yamagi is busy running the entire clan. Monotsugu is her Karo, so he has the most immediate sway. Then we have Kosa, Yukimura, Nakayuki, Rairyu, and Shigenaru. Kosa tends to be more of a religious leader. Yukimura, you've seen head and tails of him. Nakayuki is pretty much a high-ranking Shigenja that, runs the other Shigenja. He kind of teaches the school, right? They have a lead fighting Shigenja in Sohei. Rairyu is not specifically.
There's a Lady Miyuki here
Yes.
who I have yet to meet.
She's a high lady of the Kitsune. She's one of the Kitsune ups. Kitsune, not Fox.
Do I know who's under her or who supports her in this court?
The Kitsune don't exactly advertise their personalities. They kind of just flit in and out. The Fox clan holds court. The Kitsune show up and leave.
As time goes on, I am trying to figure out who I should talk to relating to why the heck I'm here. Because I got sucked up into this. Definitely been events where I've been connected to. But am I just washing out the storm, or is there more for me to do?
Do you want to try your bet with the best of the Kitsune? They're pretty chaotic. Yeah. They're technically not Rokugani. They live in Rokugan, and their culture is influenced by Rokugan, but they themselves are their own separate culture.
Because there's no structure to it. There's just nothing like it's really funny.
And they
mostly one of the reasons why I had a staring match with a fox. I'm just like,
and they mostly live outside too.
Trying to tell me.
Yeah. So Yukimura, Miyuki. There was that woman and child you helped us in shore with. Yeah, that's about all you've seen as far as actual names amongst the Kitsune. The problem with the Kitsune is they do their own thing out in the wild.
Why don't you just go up and ask?
It's mostly just not in trying to find a polite way of doing it. But as you said, they're not Rokugani, and trying to politely do it the Rokugani way has been getting me probably around in circles.
There is kind of an older, he's got all kinds of white fur in his face. If you're going to go talk to the Kitsune as opposed to the fox, you might as well go up to the shrine instead of wander around the castle. So you go up to the shrine, you find this old guy. You ask about how with Lady Miyuki, he says, Lady Miyuki's usual contact with humans is only really to exert influence upon them or to go find herself a husband. I do think that if you wanted to speak with Mayuki, you can at least attempt to send the message.
Yeah, I can do that. I might actually, he might even have some paper.
Well, you're at a shrine. They keep the prayer slips there.
Like a piece of charcoal with
Ink, actually. They have both the wooden plaques as well as the paper slips.
Write out just a simple question. It just asks, why did Yamagi have the fox leave the mantis? I would actually probably finish writing it and look at the Kitsune if he's still there.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, now, what do I do with this?
Weirdly enough, find yourself, you have this weird prickling on your neck and arms, and there's like this box you can bring the prayer slip to. And inside your ear, you hear a little voice saying, fold this way, fold left, fold right, place using your right hand. Go ahead. Go ahead. Roll a luck die.
One luck die going. What's on the die? I can't see. 3.
Oh, dude, check this out. Look at my dice. Roll. It's a 3. So your luck is not what's carrying the situation. 22 on a single luck die I rolled. Having that conversation, you speak with the old guy, you leave, you have your night, you eat breakfast the following morning. You get this inkling at some point. I don't know how long you want to feel like this inkling, but maybe you might want to go back to the prayer shrine and see what's going on.
Pick up my stuff, head over again.
Okay. That didn't take long.
Yep.
The prayer shrine does have kind of an alcove, of course, with the usual clod stomper area, you might say. And then it has like the one room, and then beyond that, it has a room past. And yeah, it's just a shrine. This is the outside door. Human scale would be like this. There might be a back building back here, but the entire shrine is like, this is like both the roof and like the alleyway on the back. It does not connect here, and the other is like, rock garden out here. And in here, of course, there's a statue of Inari and a few other things. Now, in here, you have the desks that have the papers and whatnot. Over here is the shrine where you ring the bell. And you enter into the main room there, where there's the statue of Inari. As you walk in, standing next to the statue of Inari is a lady in a very old-fashioned kimono. She has a very dour look on her face. This person you've not seen before. You're not quite certain what's going on here. She's looking at you. You do not have a name.
I look up. I go by Matsuichi.
Matsuichi. Lady Miyuki Gozen is not present. I am the Lady Shiranui. I understand that a samurai that was of some import, but of no present destiny, was requested by the Oracle of the Void. Are you that samurai?
I believe so. I was definitely brought here to a purpose.
Seemed by accident at first, did it not? A mysterious circumstance? That is the way of the Oracle of the Void. A very important juncture in history is occurring, in that this is the first step along a long road. Many things will be happening in the future. Have you been taking note of various different people and events that have occurred? You may want to, or find someone who can do it for you.
There is someone that is taking quite a few notes.
It is very possible that the Oracle of the Void has something in mind that I am not privy to. Your mission is most likely one of intercession. If no one else is there, you may be there. Matsuichi, what do you consider yourself to be? If I asked you what you are, what would you say you are?
Swordsmith.
You're a swordsmith. She smiles a little bit at that. One day your mark may be known. You may be called upon to craft something, but being a swordsmith, you're also used to precision. You're also used to enduring. Be unafraid to be more than a swordsmith. If you wish to just be a swordsmith, there are small villages you can retire to. That's not what you really want, is it?
I could just give a kind of a cocky grin. That's it. Good old Roman-style confirmation.
So keep a watch and be willing to intercede. You will only have the skills you have, what you were born with, what you were taught. Do not assume that you will be granted anything, but you will be granted one thing. If the path is needed for you to go there, you will find yourself in that direction.
I'm not pushing my luck to ask any questions or anything, because it's definitely reaching that point where it's hitting his superstitious point.
Your initial question was actually not about your fate, though in your heart that's what you want to know the most. The fox and the mantis have the strangest of destinies. For some reason, they have been joined together, but one is a band of pirates upon the sea, and the other is a band of druids in the wood. What do they have in common? On one side, they will do what is necessary. On the other side, the ideals of life and ancient traditions mean more to them than profit. If you were to ask Yamagi, do you think her answer would be a realistic one? Or would it be the kind of answer that you might find in old tales? It starts to darken inside of the shrine. Farewell, Matsuichi. Remember what I have told you. You actually find yourself waking up off the floor.
just tilts my head to the side and just like, lot to think about.
Matsuichi is laying there.
This is just a shrine area for prayers, right? No books are up. Cool. He gets up, walks straight back to the library.
Cool man. To the library!
I need to find all the mythologies between the Fox clan and the Kitsune clan and the Mantis clan. My curiosity is coming to me right now.
Right. Intelligence investigation, I'm assuming.
Given assistance, or do I just make my own roll?
You may make your own side investigations with the same stat rolls, or just roll to give him a bonus.
I'll roll to give him a bonus.
Yeah.
I roll 2, keep 2.
Land it all here.
Is that a 0?
That's a 10 and a 3, yes.
Cool.
17 is good. You may add a die to your attempts, which is 7k3, right? What was your investigation anyway?
3.
Okay, so yeah, 7 dice, yeah. 10, a 10, and a 9. And I'm assuming you're going to... It's 6k3 to start with, right?
Yeah, 6k3.
Plus 1 to 7k3 because of his assistance.
So that 9 is...
second 9.
Yeah, 6k3. Then you said...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, so yeah, 39. What you find out digging inside of the mythology between these various groups isn't so much a link, but you're noticing something very different. The Mantis clan doesn't actually follow mythology. The closest they get to having anything close to a mythological tie is they have a Shigenja family that worships the sun goddess. They're very pragmatic people. There's actually a scroll you find out in Kitsune lore, and you discover something extremely weird. The Kitsune have a form of religion that has adapted to Shinseism. Originally, it was all bound in animism. You do get this impression that the Kitsune as it is, they truly value the nighttime. They truly value their ties to each other, so they are familial. The Kitsune have their own form of honor, which is based on taboos you should and should not do.
Do I know what those are?
There's a list of them. There's actually a scroll that says Kitsune taboos. And it's just a list that says, here's 100 things that a Kitsune should or should not do. And it's 100 things. So have fun going through that. You also realize there's the Fox clan. They're primarily Shugenja led, which means priests. They do have samurai, which are pretty much glorified ronin. The samurai always seem like they're supportive of the priestly faction. The actual Kitsune, it is not certain what kind of case they're based on, but you do know that animism is key, and you're not sure about warrior types.
What about familial bonds?
Family is very strong amongst the Kitsune, but likewise, family is also very strong amongst the Fox, because this ideal carried over to them. There's an old thing Rokugan called fox wife. If a Kitsune woman is married to you, she will hold you to her taboo standards, to high standards of how you must behave. But in return, she will also express that loyalty. Whereas foxwives are also known for destroying their husbands if their husbands turn a blind eye or are abusive or whatnot. They all take bounds of marriage and family very seriously. All that I've just described, none of that has a mirror in anything you've read as far as Mantis lore.
What this shows, the reason for the split, well, there could be many reasons really. The thing that we know that she has to have doing so is the loyalty of the Kitsune. The Fox Clan, for example, if they stayed with the Mantis Clan and lost the relationship with the Kitsune, that would be a major loss.
Loss of identity.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the Kitsune want to separate from the Mantis?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Have you tried asking one?
I did, yes. As it turns out,
Really? What'd they say?
the reasoning for her to split off could have been realistic. The reasoning could be based off of mythology.
Go ahead and make an intelligence roll. Akakyoku, you're trying to decipher what he said to the Kitsune.
Wow, that's the second time I've made that roll on a straight intelligence. Literally,
Two
it's
ones
the
and two.
exact same roll. Yeah, it's literally going right over my head. It's like, okay, I'll have to think about this while over a pot of tea or something.
By the way, one thing I've got to point out about Matsuichi, the sword work was not connected to his role at the court. It was connected to the fact that he's a swordsmith. They needed an amateur swordsmith. Matsuichi has been excessively lucky, and I was pointing this out. Ronin do not find their way into winter courts. Something weird has happened to Matsuichi twice.
Yep.
That got him in there. Cool. So,
This is going to suck.
Did you mention your trip to the Crablands to me as you're going to go?
Probably, just because it's like, hey, yeah, I won't be here. Going to Yukimura?
Mimekake.
Ninakake, sorry.
Mimekake is the Crab Clan trading village on the border of Crab Clan and other unaligned territories.
Yeah.
If the crab want to trade with the fox, the hare, or any other, the scorpion, they
Somebody
send
there.
supplies and stuff there, yeah. There is a scroll, and the scroll in the library specifically says it is essentially a crab, hare trading village. It's also somewhat aesthetic, so there's a little bit of tourism, but not much.
You just going by yourself?
Why not? I'm coming with you. Give me a second.
Don't you have responsibilities here? Like, you're
Just stare at you again. I'll go get my stuff.
So this is going to be a trip by horse in the snow. Guess what, guys? One of you guys gets to roll a dice against me. You may use your luck advantage on this. All right. Da-dun.
Right dang in the middle, isn't it?
Da-dun.
That's a wide spread, though.
3 to 7.
Reroll. Let's see, 8, 9, 1, and 2. So I like a decent chance to reflip that coin.
8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. So you have a half and half
Oh,
chance.
half and half?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
50%.
All right, I'll use my bucket.
Okay, so this is
There we go.
your luck is being spent. Let me make a note of this. 2.
Slide it right in.
Just the beginning of it. You actually notice there's a snowstorm brewing up just behind you, and it's the wind that really hits you. So you guys are of the impression, you know what? Let's make this fast. Make a horsemanship plus stamina roll. If you roll like shit, you roll like shit. But I need to see the result.
Please tell me you have horsemanship.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
You got a 3 in stamina though, so
But I have a 3 in stamina. Yeah.
So we have the same roll. Except I'm only
you're keeping 3, so you're actually doing better.
I rolled a 1. That sucks.
So it's an 11 for Matsuichi.
Oh, Jesus.
And a flat
10.
8. Or you're keeping 2, right?
No,
keeping
yeah,
2, yeah,
I
it's
keep
8.
2. 8.
8
Oh.
for the good news is that's not enough to kill you. That's gonna suck.
Yeah, you said it won't kill me, so I won't burn my luck on it, but...
That was a fat storm behind you. It's got a really nasty wind. It's not as big as the first one you saw. If you want to ride the storm out, you can get to Mimikake before the storm hits. However, that's a lot of risk you're pushing right there.
We're going to find somewhere to shelter first.
Okay.
Sorry, even I know that much.
No, I'm going to roll some dice. Your guys are going to suck it down. Holy shit. You don't want me to roll high on this one, by the way. You guys lose 22 days. That's a shit ton. Let's put it this way. If you guys want to batten down, this storm is persistent. It's just going to snow consistently. You have an option. 5 days in, you can realize, shit, we've been stuck here for 5 days. You can choose to really reinforce your horses. You can choose to really reinforce your own gear and your supplies. And try to make a flat-out stamina horsemanship roll to fight the winter on the way over.
How dangerous would that be to the horses?
The horses have been resting up in a stable all this time. The horses will likely die after you guys do.
The problem is these aren't our horses.
I literally would spit Saga across the room and be like, that's what you're worried about.
Yes and no. One, cool, great. They're horses. They're not worth my life. However, they are borrowed equipment.
Oh, yeah.
You don't treat something you borrow from somebody else poorly.
Oh, no.
Honestly, I'll put it to Matsuichi. I'm willing to go through it. If we're going to do this, I'm getting extra horse blankets.
Extra horse blankets can be done.
We're going to make sure that we have grain for the horses, not just hay, because they're going to need the energy.
You'll probably want to feed them the day before then.
Yeah.
If we don't die,
Yeah.
right? What makes you think we can make it back in time?
I don't know if we can.
I don't think it'll happen, and we would miss all the fun action of our good mantis champion coming back to see the fox. And
If we get there and the snowstorm's still hitting this area, he ain't moving either.
Point made.
yeah, but he'll be in the port, which means he can get back to the fox clan faster than we can.
I'm not arguing that. But I also said I was going to try.
So, decisions being made or not?
I'm going to go.
So your loss has been reduced to just -7 days, but guess what? You got to roll to make, guys. Stamina plus horsemanship. You're going to avoid it? Go for it. So you're 4K3ing it?
I throw my wood in there, too.
You're 4K4ing it. Yay. That was a 5.
Yep.
Average roll, honestly.
You hit one of my guys, and it was a 5, right?
Yep.
Let's do that 5 instead.
8, 20.
By the way, I only keep... Oh, yeah, 3.
Yay, you survive. You guys actually make it. And Mimikake is waiting for you guys. The city has a few buildings that are 3 stories high. There's a major shrine there. There's a lot of 1-story houses. The city actually has a little bit of walls, considering it's a crab-owned city. The main gates, when you come through, are actually some pretty impressive gates. 2 full tree trunks with a heavy board slung across it to make the classic torii. You guys come in, little specks on the road. I'm assuming your first order of business is to get this message to the crab.
Yeah. Actually, probably first order of business to put the horses somewhere where they won't die.
Easy. In fact, that's so easy we're not going to even roll for it. So you're going to the crab. Yasuki Jintaro is one of the Crab Clan samurai who specializes in the guardianship of the city as well as communication of messages. And he sees other Phoenix Clan guys show up. He's like, a Phoenix Clan? This far south? How can I assist you?
I am here representing actually both the Phoenix Clan and the Fox Clan.
That's a unique combination.
The Fox Clan has officially split from the Mantis Clan.
Oh, amazing. How do they plan on surviving that?
They'll find out in about a month.
Everyone will find out.
Everyone will find out in about a month.
No, it's like 2 weeks, or is it like still like a month?
You've got less than a month now.
However, I have letters of introduction from the Fox and a letter of pretty much all the information needed. I personally am hoping that you would help the Fox out.
Ah, you've come here looking for allies in war. I am not capable of handling that level of detail. I will pass this on to someone who can.
And no one's actually answered a message from the Phoenix.
Well, of course. We don't have the same kind of long communications capacity that the Phoenix do. Nice attempt, though. We'll laud you for that. Well, there's a difference between sending something by Shigenja and acting on it personally. I can guarantee no real response immediately, but we'll see what we can do to help out. I'm assuming you people would like someplace to stay instead of going back out into the storm.
That would be appreciated. Our horses need at least a few days to recover.
There is a place that we usually hold aside for people who are traveling. We call it the Flying Crane. It should be relatively easy to spot considering it has a flying crane statue built into the overhead of the door. Left side road on the second column after you've left our primary reception here.
Thank you.
Let me write you guys something here. Given this recommendation, they won't overcharge you.
They won't overcharge us?
Do you know what Scorpion clans pay to have any kind of footing in this city?
Probably quite a bit.
They get the best overcharges we can possibly dole out. By the way, that's something I'm going to add in. When you're in a crab city, the roads, they're not dirt roads. They've brought in rock or like small pebbles and smashed them into the road somehow, so there's actually some substrate to stand on. Unlike a lot of the muddy and dirt roads you find all throughout all of Rokugan.
Cobblestones.
They essentially, they've essentially invented the cobblestone. Welcome to Engineeringville, right? On top of that, the peasants and samurai actually seem to get along. It's more like after the peasants bow, the samurai give them much more leniency once they've shown some respect. And so you'll actually see casual conversations between, the various. Also, everybody's carrying a weapon. And more than 3 people who don't look like guards are packing armor. They're walking around in armor.
I'm going to stare at the crane for a second.
It's a nice
I probably
place.
find this very odd, don't I?
What?
The fact that everybody's got a weapon.
Oh, dude. Phoenix Clan is the equivalent of, like, California's gun laws. They don't let everybody walk around with weapons. Whereas the Crab are fucking Texas. The Crab definitely will let anybody and their mother carry a weapon.
Especially when there's shadow monsters jumping the border.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're actually on the border of a place called Cinnamon Forest. And Cinnamon Forest is not a place where you want to go unarmed all the time.
My character's thinking, there's enough armed people here. I might be able to get, a couple hundred to come with us.
Thoughts here are, do you have anything you want to do besides, rest a night, gear up, and potentially head back with great supplies? By the way, you've noticed that in Crab Clan territories, the price of everything is like a third of what it is in, like, Phoenix lands.
How can they afford this?
Do you have commerce skill?
Nope.
You're probably not skilled in the economy. You notice, wow, we can actually stock up on supplies here, and we take some extras.
They obviously won't have a friggin' answer by morning about any potential aid.
You dropped off the message. I hate to say it. It's going to get to the Crab Clan when it gets to the Crab Clan. Well, it's in the Crab Clan territory, but this is a trade city, and they have a communications outpost. This is a place where they stop Scorpion envoys from going any further if they want to. I'm going to just go ahead and roll one thing for the road back. Shit or no shit? Oh, check that out, guys.
No shit.
Nothing. 0-0. You guys get back to Kyuden Kitsune. So, yay, we fly Fox Clan banners here. Flying banners from the roofs. You sent the message, you're not sure of the response, and when you arrive, they pretty much treat you like you haven't really left. You guys have been gone. You lost 6 days the one, but it's supposed to be like a 3-day journey. So, honestly, you only lost 10 days total, because it was a lot smoother coming back. Because you guys were prepared coming back. So, is there anyone in particular you wanted to contact besides any last contacts with the Phoenix Clan?
I was going to let
Motosugo or Yukimura?
Motosugo. Yeah, we're back, and I did pass on both letters, and they told me we may or may not receive an answer in time.
Mm-hmm. The Crab Clan. Well, I expect that kind of response from them. They're the Crab Clan. They're not known for being polite.
Actually, we're very polite.
Well, shocked me. He's glad to receive that message. Anything else you want to do as far as who you want to contact? Or
I don't believe I have anybody to contact.
In 14 days, there's a bit of a warm wind and the snow recedes a little bit. The skies are actually clear, which causes a bit of a dip in temperature, but there's some clouds that roll in that do nothing but trap in the warm air, and it's not really a thaw. The evergreens perk up a little. Calendar-wise, the end of 1267 comes up. There's this thing called New Year. a little bit of fireworks. There's a lot more celebration and drinking. You guys actually, it's relatively festive to have the New Year's celebrations there. So everybody becomes a year older according to Rokugan's calendar. There's a lot of people who seem like they're enjoying their life as opposed to constantly worrying about war for half a second. It's a really good moment of rest and relaxation for a lot of these people. So there's New Year's celebration. The snow is still pretty much packed in for a little bit. But a week after, a single Ashigaru courtier on a winterized horse comes up from the south, and you receive news that, hey, some messenger came to the gate and passed off a letter. And so a messenger passes off a letter to one of the samurai, from the samurai, who brings it up to Yamagi, and Yamagi, of course, sees the letter. Stands, letter in hand, and says, "The Mantis have landed. I'm going to be sending out a scout force to see what they've brought. Kakujo, Murasugo, Yukimura, I think we all have plans."
Time's up.
Yeah.
Any last calls?
Let the Phoenix know that, hey, time's up.
That's right, you have your one last moon meeting for the full moon.
Literally what it is, time's up.
Yeah.
They've landed.
I think I sent my letter to Sawaro, but it's snail mail.
Yeah.
To come visit the castle after. No rush.
All right. End of session.
I will actually probably ask them what the plans are. What does the fox want me to do?
Not
Stand.
talk a lot in public.
Other than that, I've been really good about that recently.
The fox will give you the orders when the time comes. In any case, 3 experience points for everybody. And you guys should be good.
And I will add a horsemanship and sword lore to my skills.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, meditation.
What?
Meditation.
What about it?
Lots of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry. Once the end of the session, you'll get your void back. The good news is that we actually gotten all of the potentially non-combat and leads up to this event out of the way, and our last session should be an interesting one.